and welcome to our Truth series. My name is Isabel and I'm one of the twin sisters of the band Our Truth. I would like to talk about sexuality. This is a video now that is part of, or was inspired by me first recording a video about the divine masculine and feminine energies and how I see it and how I see the distortion of them. And then within that, pondering that subject, it became obvious to me that, or it felt like I should do two separate videos, or we should do, part of the Our Truth series. So my sister and I recorded a video about love, and this one now is about sexuality. I am recording this for inspirational purposes and empowerment, if it so resonates. So when I thought about this subject and try to get clarity on how and in order to find the right words to convey that subject, I actually kept thinking that I need to see a pattern. I need to see a symbol, and what I ended up seeing was a rhombus or a diamond shape, and I feel that the subject of sexuality is actually related, somewhat related to my understanding of consciousness, subconsciousness, and higher consciousness. So I made myself notes, a chart, so that I can tell you about this. Whoops. Because it's such a huge subject, and it is actually, in my understanding, part of love. And I mean, really, everything's part of love. It's just questionable how we define love, which is why we did that other video. I was just talking to my family about it, and that made me think of the German word because we use appreciation, and the German word is Wertschätzung, which I almost like better, because I would translate that to treasuring the value of something. So treasuring the value of someone or something in any given moment as the higher consciousness, as on the higher level. And then there's this level of consciousness on which I will also put intimacy. So love on the top, intimacy on the in the middle, and on the bottom is sexuality. That is, if I look at my idea of consciousness, and then the higher consciousness up here, and the consciousness is here with the heart and the mind, and the subconsciousness is on the bottom. So the subconsciousness is where a programming runs, and that's also where I see sexuality. I came up with these words of saying on the top is the awareness in a consciousness, in the higher consciousness, is the awareness of the connections. On the heart level is the capability of feeling the connections. On the mind level is the capability of accepting the connections. And then on the subconscious level is the programming for living the connections. So it becomes important to know what program is running us, and mention that in other videos as well. But I think the easiest way of seeing what is actually running us is by looking at what we are experiencing in our life, since it is a reflection of the subconsciousness. With the consciousness, with the mind, we can shape the subconsciousness or influence it if we consciously choose so. And the heart is the gauge, which gives us an idea of where we stand. So there's the intimacy. Oh, and I want to say with the heart, I did recently say that if you feel good, but I want to be careful with that, because if there's a lot of distortion or closed heart and fear in the heart, let's say, then something that might feel good is actually not in our highest interest. So I want to use the word comfort. And I did a video about that too, that I feel like on the core of the emotions we start out with, as human beings, we start out with comfort and discomfort. I compared that to my experience of having a child. So intimacy is here, and it is actually on the heart level, as I see it, it is comfort. That's what it is. Intimacy is comfort. On the mind level, it's touch. And which here, starting out with the first huge issue that I feel in the fabric, in the energy field, is that intimacy got mixed up with sexuality. Oh, and sexuality to me on the subconscious level is attraction. A different word for sexuality is attraction, in my understanding now. So I see the two big things that I'm seeing that I feel are negatively influencing us as human beings is that, number one, again, there's the mix up that intimacy was put on the same level like sexuality. Or I do think that the highest expression of sexuality, of the attraction, is intimacy, but intimacy should by itself not be mixed up with sexuality. Completely separate. It needs to be, in my understanding, needs to be comfort, and the touch needs to be connected to comfort. And having a child again, you can have intimacy. I'm having a lot of intimacy with my daughter, which again, this has nothing to do with sexuality. It's the comfort. It's a touch that is comfortable. It's where she feels at home with me. She wants to hug me, and I hug her, and no sexuality included. And it's the same with our friends, where like in the video about love, I think my sister and I showed, and it just so happened that there were many, many moments where we kind of rubbed each other's back because one of us maybe got teared up to the subject, and the subject we mentioned, whatever. And then, the other one was like comforting. I comforted my sister and she comforted me just by putting her hand on my back, which again, this has nothing to do with sexuality. And but there is a lot of misunderstanding about this, and I looked up the definition for intimacy, and I actually found that it could be the same like sexuality, which, oh God, red flag. I really don't think so. So this is the one issue that I'm seeing, that comfort and touch is not meant to be sexual, and because it's been put on the same level, there's misunderstanding with the touch, for example, that or feeling comfortable around somebody. It can be that maybe a woman touches a man at a bar, and then he thinks that's an invitation, but it wasn't. Or I smile at somebody and they think it's an invitation, but it's not. It's just that it's part of love again. And or of course vice versa. Forget that I said man, woman, or whatever. It doesn't matter who does it, or man, whatever. It doesn't matter who does it. It's about the misunderstanding there. And the other issue I'm seeing then, or the challenge, I would say, is that the sexuality was brought into the consciousness, into the mind, and it's like it's something to thrive for, but which it would naturally be like that, because if we are attracted to somebody that's and we're adults, then we might end up there. We don't have to for sure, but it's a beautiful thing. I would think it's like the most beautiful thing, this physical contact, the closest this closeness. It doesn't get any closer, but it has been, in a way, it has been ripped away from intimacy. So it's like it made intimacy sexuality, and took intimacy out of sexuality. So if that makes sense what I'm saying here. I was saying here that it has been brought into our mind as something desirable, which of course it is, but not detached from the heart, um, and not as a tool for power, which this is what I'm seeing so much in so many examples, and I'm very aware of it because I have a daughter, and I want only the best for her and for everybody, and so I'm making her aware already. That is something that I mentioned in the distortion that I see in the when I meant in the feminine and masculine energy sheet that I also published at the end of the video, that that the feminine energy believes that she is there to sexually and actually, if you want, physically please the male energy, and the male energy feels like the feminine energy is there to physically and visually please him, and the masculine energy, not to say him, because every human being has both energies, so it's the energy within. So it has been taken out of, so sexuality has been brought to the mind, on the mind level where intimacy is, but only into the mind level and not so much into the heart. At least that's not how I see it, as examples in TV shows and movies and newspapers, and maybe not newspapers, although magazines and stuff. And I also noticed that it is such a powerful energy. It's again, it's attraction, that there's just tiny things that show up sometimes. I've seen it with many. It's not really that I watch a lot of comedians, but I've seen comedians then suddenly in their sketch there's something extremely sexual for a second, or very sexual for a second, and then they go back to their joking, and sometimes in pictures, and then suddenly you see like the very sexy girl there, or you see the very handsome guy, or whatever. It's just like for a moment to catch our attention. It's like this is where the power is. It's in the attraction. Have anything else there? Yeah, I think I said it all. And I hope it made sense. I'm gonna watch it now and see if it did. So if I published it, it made sense to me. Hope that's true for you too. The next video that we're gonna publish, and I'm very excited about it too, because I've been feeling that I'm supposed to put it out there, is about words. And I'm inviting you to join me with something as just like a little preview to what's to come. The invitation is to avoid using the words knowing and understanding, and replacing them with awareness. And now I'm going to do this too. I have to do it. I'm aware now that I'm saying a lot, and I know, and but I think that's counterproductive to where we want to go. So more in that video to come. So here it is, and I hope you're happy, and 2021 ended well, and 2022 is going to be one of the most magical years of your life, only to get better from there on. Okay, so love to all.